Good day everyone! Summer is almost over, and we enter into the fall anime season soon. So we are back here with a look at the fall season and what it has to offer. We will be looking through the different genres and the titles that I think will represent them best. But before we start, you know the drill. Don't forget to subscribe, it really motivates us to make more content. Just to add this guys, Chainsaw Man is coming out this fall on the 12th of October. I didn't know that when I recorded this video, so I'm adding this later. It's one of the titles I mentioned in my top anime of 2022, and it's a great title, and the animation will probably be awesome, and the gore, if you like gore, demon fighting, very nonsensical story, but it's a lot of action, so it's quite enjoyable if you like that sort of flicker. So alright. Isekai is the first genre we are looking at. In genres that have a lot of titles, I will highlight two instead of just one. The Eminence in Shadow is finally coming out this fall. It's one of the isekai I mentioned way back in one of my very first videos. The link to that video is in the top right corner if you want to check it out. It's a series that has a comedic undertone, as the main character aims to create an organization that works in the shadows of the world. The main character recruits people for this organization, and he wishes to play the all-powerful and all-knowing master in the shadows character. The comedic value of the series comes from the fact the main character literally sees himself as only playing a character, and he constructed the organization and his members to build up a setting for him to play his character archetype. It is a peculiar misunderstanding kind of setup, but it has a lot of action, and the female characters are interesting, and so is the main character of course. For the second isekai series, we have Reincarnated as a Sword. Reincarnated as a Sword is an isekai that I predicted to receive an anime in a video last year. The link to the video is also in the top right corner if you want to check it out. It's another of the many isekai coming this fall. Another reasons I bet for this to have an animation was its popularity. So why is this popular, you might ask? After all, the main character is a sword of all things. Well, the reason firstly is that it stands out because it's a reincarnation into an object story, and secondly, it's a story about the dynamic relationship between the sword and the girl that takes him as a master. From there on, they start to travel together and meet many adventures. It has many comedic moments as well as action ones, and it's overall not a bad title. It's a slice of life adventure title with some coming of age elements. Next we have the perennial romance comedy genre. When it comes to rom-coms in this season, we have a contrast between series from very different time periods. First off, we have Urusei Yatsura. That is a hit manga from the back in the 70s and 80s, and its popularity resulted into an anime series in the 80s. The story starts off with an alien species invading Earth, and they offer the chance for the humans to take part in the competition to fight for the rights of their planet. Taking part in this competition is the main character, who is randomly selected, and he faces off against the daughter of the aliens, Loom. The main character manages to win the competition, but at the same time he causes a misunderstanding with Lum that believes he has proposed to her. She accepts his proposal and moves on to live with him, and that causes all sorts of hijinks. Urusei Yatsura is Rumiko Takahashi's first major work, and it's a light comical romance with supernatural elements. It's an enjoyable series that is easy to get hooked on, and this remake in 2022 hopefully does the original manga and TV series justice. Renai Flops is kind of the opposite of Urusei Yatsura. It's not a manga adaptation of a popular series, in fact it's an original series. There's a huge time gap between the two series that are both in the same rom-com genre. There is not much to comment on the story about yet, but it seems to be a harem and it has a touch of ecchi, which is what makes it a lot different from Urusei Yatsura. Looking at rom-com series like Urusei Yatsura, they faded out of favor back in the 90s and the 2000s, that bought ecchi rom-coms with harems like Ichigo 100%, To Love Are You, and light novel horror novels that change the genre, and Renai Flops is very much influenced by the latter. I think watching both these titles will be quite an interesting experience. It will tell a lot about the development of the rom-com genre in this century. Next we have Yashike, with 2 titles as well. Do It Yourself is an original series I have had my eyes on since it was first announced. The bright and colorful art style caught my attention. DIY is not something that is usually seen as a topic in anime, and that was also something that caught my attention. Because I really enjoyed series that involved making things such as Mug Cup. I think it works really well for Yashike if blended in this sort of meeting new people and finding a new hobby setup. The staff working on the series is good as well, and since it's not a story-driven series, my worries about the fact it's an original project are significantly lessened. Overall, I believe the blend of DIY and Yashike is one definitely worth keeping an eye on, so I think this one is worth giving a go. Next, Bocchi the Rock is another Yashike series, but it will be focused around music. The story follows a girl that has always wanted to join a band to play together with friends at school. During her period at middle school, she was unable to find a band or make any friends interested in music, never mind creating any band. In part, that is also because she's quite shy, which is a normal character stereotype for Yashike's series. However, she succeeds in finding music-loving friends after her encounter with a group of girls that are looking for a guitarist for her band. Hence, Goto, our main character, is finally able to become part of a band. Hooray for her! The focus of the series is in building the relationship between the band and their quest to make music, which does make the series quite chill, even though they are making rock music, as the title suggests. Next we have original franchise projects, so these are not original anime, but they're based off games and all those sort of things. First off, we have a new Gundam anime series, and like most of them, it will be handled by Sunrise, Bandai's premier studio. In terms of original anime projects set within a franchise, this is probably one of the highest caliber, not only because Gundam anime have historically been seen as one of the franchises with most high quality anime series, but also because of the huge talent it manages to attract. Gundam has huge marketability, even if the anime is a sideshow to really promote the merchandise, the figures and the likes. However, the Gundam anime series are well known for their quality, and that is an attraction for talented animators. In addition, the money the company puts in the project means they usually can compensate for the more experienced staff. The PV does show a lot of promise, but will this be a good Gundam or a mediocre one, like most recent titles? We will only know if we give it a go, which I will. Next, Legend of Mana is a game that I very much enjoyed in my youth, and I still enjoy it till this day. I was excited to know it was getting an animated project for its 13th anniversary. The series will be animated by the following studios: Yokohama Animation Laboratory and Graphinica. Both are not standout studios, but the TAF is actually quite promising, and the PV does look quite good, at least to me. Story-wise, naturally, a sort of adaptation of the original game would be the natural conclusion for the series. It does seem that it will lean in that direction, but it will obviously have to make some changes to join up the story arcs into one. And will this be 13 episodes long? Ideally, it would need more than that to cover the story in a satisfactory manner. I have questions, but the story is quite JRPG-esque for fans of that, the stuff is fine and the PV looks good, so it's a watch for me as well, and it should be for you guys as well. Next we'll be touching into the best sequels of the full anime season. To start off, Bleach is coming back, which was quite a surprise, and at the same time not a surprise at all. Bleach was a very popular manga and TV anime series for TV Tokyo, and it ended as its audience in a prime-time TV slot was just no longer good enough. Many prime-time slots for anime have been cut from TV Tokyo's programming, and that has been the case for most TV channels as well, as the audience for these series decline. However, Bleach was a popular show, and the anime that ended 10 years ago now left before the manga series was finished. The manga series finished a few years later in 2016, and whilst it had a drop in popularity in its last few years, it was still a top-selling title for Shonen Jump. So we had basically the entire last arc of the series unanimated, and given the prominence of the series, it was a given the anime would be revived in order to animate this last arc, especially after Tite Kubo's latest work, Burn the Witch, was animated as well recently. So here we have the last arc of the manga and show many kids of the 2000s will have watched at some point. It's definitely worth watching when it comes to sequels coming in the season, I think. Next one, we move to sports. Blue Lock is a series I mentioned previously, so I did not want to repeat myself. But there is also no other sports series in fall, so it's kind of flying alone. I do expect it to fly quite high as well, because it's a hyper unrealistic and mad football series that has players fighting like crazy to be the best players. I imagine it will attract many fans for the flashiness and the male characters. It's like Kuroko no Basuke, but with many drops of insanity added. Moving on quickly, we are into comedy now. Cool Doji Danshi is a comedy manga series featuring pretty much an all-male cast. I did enjoy Kimi to Boku, that had a similar setting, but unlike Cool Danshi, it was a shonen manga series. Cool Danshi is a shoujo series. It looks like a fun series that will have a style of comedy that is not present in shonen series, that are by far the majority of manga adapted into anime recently. Quickly moving on to ecchi, Fudoku no Guild is an ecchi series, and surprisingly there are not many other series in the season like it. It's a harem featuring a boy that wants to leave his job as a monster hunter because he fears he is wasting his youth after seeing his friend was just recently married. However, before retiring, he finds himself surrounded by a group of women that all want to become good hunters like him. And he wants to find a replacement for him, but they're also clumsy. Anyway, it's a ecchi harem comedy. It's a fun series with a lot of fanservice, keep that in mind. Now for the last but not the least, mystery. Kokyu no Karasu is a mystery series set in the imperial palaces of ancient China. One of the consorts that live in the inner palace is called the Raven Consort, and she has a mystique that surrounds her. The story starts off with the emperor encountering her to discuss a problem. The series features the growing relationship between the emperor and her, but also the many problems involving supernatural elements that she provides solutions for. It's an interesting series of the type that is not frequently seen in anime nowadays. I definitely feel it's worth a watch for any anime fans. So that was the roundup of the fall anime season coming up. I hope you guys like this format, going through all the genres. I like to give a lot of variety in my videos, so this is the sort of how I try to compromise the variety and talking a lot of good titles. Anyway, don't forget to leave a like, comment down below your favorite anime of the fall season. Don't forget to subscribe, since it motivates us a lot to make contents, because we really want to reach 300 subscribers and eventually 500. That's the next goalpost for us at the Anime Down.